Okay, so let's all begin lying down on your mat, any comfortable position for you. So maybe you're on your back, your side, your front body. So we're just going to begin our practice by taking a moment here to check in and see where we have landed today, both on our mats and in our lives. So noticing the sensation of your breath. Noticing if your breath is shallow or deep, quick or slow. And there's absolutely no judgment, just notice. Perhaps you are able to take deep inhales in through your nose, into your diaphragm, and long, slow exhales out. Noticing if there's anything going on in your mind that you don't need during our time here together. Perhaps you're thinking about your day, things you need to do or wish to do in the future. Or maybe there's been some kind of negative self-talk happening. Whatever it may be, see if you can allow it to go with your exhales. Trust that if it's something important that you need to revisit, it will still be there after our practice. You just don't need it right now. So, a quote to begin. When we get too caught up in the busyness of the world, we lose connection with one another and ourselves. So in yoga, we move from one posture or to the other, and we kind of forget that there's those moments in between each pose. And those can be really important moments. We often rush from one thing to the next. We forget to slow down and notice what's happening at every present moment. So as we move through our practice today, I invite you to notice how your body feels as you move from one pose to the next. Maybe be aware of your body in space and take your time moving from one pose to the next. So just so you know, this is not an easy practice for me to teach, but I will do my best to slow down. So making some small movements here in your fingers and toes. Perhaps rolling around wrists and ankles. Maybe you take a big stretch here. And very mindfully, bringing one knee in toward your chest. Then maybe the other one follows. Hugging both knees in And perhaps you make movements here from side to side. Maybe you make circles in your knees. Finding one more round of breath here. And then hugging your right knee in towards your chest, activating the right foot. So slightly curling back the toes. Left foot maybe comes to the earth with a bent knee. Or maybe you extend the left leg long. Notice what's going on with your shoulders, softening your shoulders down towards the earth. Find your breath. Take deep inhales in through your nose, into your diaphragm, and long, slow exhales out. And slowly releasing your right foot down towards the earth. And then bringing your left knee in towards your chest, activating the left foot, and perhaps right leg extends long on the earth, or maybe you keep it bent. Listen to your body. Take a moment to check in with your mind. Notice where your mind is going. And if it wanders, which it likely will throughout the practice many times, gently bring your mind back to your breath, back to the sensations in your body. Gently releasing your left foot down towards the earth. And then whenever you're ready, rolling over to one side, whichever side is calling for you, and mindfully making your way up to seated. So finding any comfortable seated position here. Maybe knees are bent. Sorry, maybe you're seated cross-legged. Oh, it's one of those days. Maybe legs are out long. Maybe you're in a butterfly pose, whatever feels good. So let's find some movement here in our bodies. So making some circles, and maybe as you come back, you arch your spine. And as you come forward, just go as far as it feels comfortable. Take your time. And notice the sensations that you feel here in your hips, in your back, your shoulders. And then moving in the opposite direction. And slowly coming back to center. We'll find a tailor pendulum swing. So placing your right hand on the earth, left hand palm faces up towards the sky. On your inhale, reaching your arm up towards the sky, and exhale, coming over as far as you feel comfortable. So perhaps you stay up on your hand. Maybe if you have a little more space in your body, forearm comes to the earth as long as both hips stay on the earth. And what we want to work on here is rotating the upper body up towards the sky rather than down towards the floor. All right, you're going to hear me say this lots of times today. Slowly making your way back up to seated, and then we'll come over to the other side. Rolling your top shoulder back and down your spine. Come over as far as you feel comfortable and work on rotating your heart up towards the sky. And you look wherever it feels comfortable. Maybe it's looking up, looking straight, or looking down. Inhale, coming back to center. And exhale, we're going to come back over towards the first side. Top shoulder rolls back and down your spine. Reaching with your fingers. Notice the sensation along the outside of the left body, the outer left body. On your inhale, coming back to center and exhaling over to the other side. Perhaps you feel your breath here expand along the right side of your body. And feel the rib cage come back together as you exhale. Inhaling back to center. And then you're going to make your way over into a tabletop pose. So in your tabletop pose, wrists are underneath your shoulders, knees are underneath your hips. And we want to be mindful here of our wrists. So gripping your fingers into the earth, and imagine there's a little ladybug underneath your hand. So cupping your hand slightly on the earth. We don't want to squish the ladybug. And from here, we're going to find a little bit of movement in the spine. So whatever feels good for you, maybe it's C shapes, figure eights, maybe you come in and out of child's pose. Whatever you do, take your time. So nowhere to be, just being present. Notice your breath. Notice if it feels like you're trying to rush or you have the sensation or thoughts in your mind that you're ready to move on and practice. Let's come back to our tabletop pose. And we're going to come into a tiger pose. So our tiger pose, we allow our bellies to drop down towards the floor, shoulders roll back and down the spine, heart reaches through. And then we're going to take the right foot and extend the right foot up towards the sky, activating the foot. And you're going to push up as high as you comfortably can. Notice what's happening in your right leg, in your right glute. Maybe even notice if there's any sensation in the low back. And we're going to do a bit of a crunch here. So mindfully, slowly exhale. Bring the knee in towards the nose, round the spine. Push the body away from the earth and hold. So sometimes these slower, more mindful practices can actually be more difficult. We're activating all the muscles, pulling everything in here. Okay, and then on your next exhale, foot comes back up towards the sky, belly drops, tiger pose. Push the foot. And on your next exhale, rounds knee to nose. And hold. Even though we're holding the pose, see if you can still take deep inhales, long, slow exhales. So one more time, foot comes up towards the sky, tiger pose, send it nice and high. And exhale to round knee to nose. And hold. Mindfully putting your right knee back down towards the earth. We'll come into a child's pose just to give our hands a little bit of a break. Big toes together, knees apart, sitting your hips back. Arms come nice and long here, melting your heart down towards the earth. Taking deep inhales and long, slow exhales. See if you can embrace the moments in between. in between the poses, perhaps even in between each part of your breath. As you inhale, maybe you notice a pause at the top of the inhale. Perhaps you notice a pause at the end of the exhale. All right, 2 more rounds of breath. And then making your way back into your tabletop pose. All right, tiger pose on the other side. Left foot comes up towards the sky, knee is bent, belly drops, heart shines through. Push nice and high. Feel everything activate. Exhale, rounding the spine, knee to nose, hold. Push away from the earth, grip your fingers. Allowing your foot to come up towards the sky once again into tiger. How does it feel to move mindfully from one part of the pose to the next? Exhale, round, knee to nose. Allowing your foot to come back up towards the sky. Last one here. Exhale, round, knee to nose, hold. Draw the belly button in, bring the knee in as high as you comfortably can. And then let's come back to our tabletop pose. Back into child's pose, big toes together, knees apart. Maybe this time with child's pose, we can try a bit of a variation if it feels comfortable for you. So I'm not going to bring my forehead to the earth, otherwise you won't hear me with the mic. But if forehead doesn't come all the way to the earth, maybe you find a block or stacked fists. If your forehead is on a block or to the earth, perhaps clasping your hands, bending your elbows, sending your hands behind your head. Softening in your hips and allowing your heart to melt down. One more round of breath. And then making your way back into your tabletop pose. Once you find tabletop, curling your toes under, sending your hips back and up behind you, downward dog. Shoulders roll back and down your spine, and maybe you pedal out your feet, bending one knee as you straighten the other. So it doesn't matter if your heels make it to the earth. Just notice the sensations that you feel, especially along the back body. Take as much of a bend in your knees as you need. We don't want any discomfort here. Okay, so whenever you're ready, allowing the right foot to reach up towards the sky, three-legged dog. Okay, you're going to shift your weight forward and allow your knee to come towards your nose. So if you're like, I cannot do that, or I am not doing that today, feel free to come to knees, and we'll do balancing cat instead, or you can, so leg will come out long instead of three-legged dog, round your spine, knee to nose. Okay, oh, sorry, those of you in downward dog, come back up, three-legged dog. Exhale, shift forward, knee to nose, and hold. Inhale, right foot reaches high. Exhale, shift forward, knee to nose, hold. Last one, inhale, right foot reaches high. Exhale, forward, knee to nose, hold. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back into your three-legged dog. Back into downward dog. Shift your weight forward and come into tabletop. And all of us will come back into child's pose. Melting your heart, softening your shoulders. And on your next inhale, come back to your tabletop pose. All right, so again, either balancing cat foot comes back, round knee to nose, or perhaps you come into downward dog. So this time it's left foot reaches up towards the sky. Slowly shift your weight forward, knee to nose, hold. Back into your three-legged dog. Lift nice and high. Shift your weight forward, knee to nose, hold. All right, one more. Back into three-legged dog. Shift your weight forward, knee to nose, hold. And breathe. Notice what's going on in your mind. Can you breathe through it? Hold a little longer. And then come back. Three-legged dog. Downward dog. This time, walking your feet up towards your hands or hands towards your feet, forward fold. Releasing any tension you feel here in your low back by bending your knees as much as you need. Perhaps you allow your upper body to dangle. Maybe you release any tension you feel here in your neck. On your next inhale, hands come to shins or thighs, nice flat back. As much of a bend in your knees as you need. Crown of your head reaches towards the front of your mat. Exhale, slowly coming down, forward fold. Take 2 more rounds of breath. And then arms come out to the side with a flat back, reverse swan dive up. Arms reach up towards the sky, extended mountain. And exhale, hands come to heart center. Rolling the shoulders back and down your spine, find your breath. Find the present moment. Notice what's going on in your mind. So yoga is about calming down or controlling the fluctuations of the mind. Where has your mind gone? And gently bring it back. If you are at the back of your mat, slowly coming to the front, and we'll all find mountain pose here. Shoulders roll back and down your spine. Imagine there's a block between your thighs, squeezing the block. Crown of your head reaches nice and high. Inhale, arms reach up towards the sky, shoulders roll back and down. Exhale, flat back, swan, diving down, forward fold. Hands come to the earth, take a big step back with your right foot. All right, so options here, you can either drop the right knee to the earth or you can keep it up off the earth. Okay, a little bit of challenge here. So we're going to draw the belly button in, either knees are down or knees up, doesn't matter, we can do this. Arms are going to reach back behind you. Find length in your spine. Crown of your head reaches towards the front of the mat. And breathe. Try not to lean into that front leg. Let's find 2 more rounds of breath. And then squeezing your inner thighs together, arms reach up towards the sky. Shoulders roll back and down. Exhale, hands come down towards the earth. All right, so knee can stay down if you want, or stays up. Right hand comes underneath the shoulder. Left hand comes to your thigh. Push into your thigh to help you turn to the left. And then perhaps the left hand reaches up nice and high. Squeeze your inner thighs towards center. Notice what's going on here with your left hip. Roll the left hip back. Often it kind of pops out to the side. Left hand comes down to the earth. If that back knee is up, drop it down. Let's all come into tabletop and into child's pose. Gently coming back into tabletop. Curling your toes under, downward dog. How slow can you move your weight into a plank pose? So maybe it's knees up or knees down. In your plank pose, push the earth away from you. Draw the navel in. Send your heels back if your knees are up off the earth. Wherever you are, shift your weight forward slightly, knees to the earth, tuck the elbows, chest and chin follow. So we'll find a baby cobra here, shoulders roll back and down the spine, tuck the elbows in by your sides. Stretch your legs long behind you, point your toes, and then gently lift your heart up off the earth. Look down at the earth and find your breath. One more round of breath. And then slowly making your way into tabletop. Curl your toes under, downward dog. How slow can you go? There's nowhere to go, nowhere you need to be. I am your timekeeper today. Allowing your feet to come up toward your hands or hands towards your feet, forward fold. On your next inhale, arms come out towards the sides, reverse swan dive up, extended mountain. And exhale, hands to heart center. If you're at the back of your mat, making your way to the front. Mountain pose. Squeezing the inner thigh, shoulders roll back and down. Find the 4 corners of your feet, so equal weight within all 4 corners. On your next inhale, reach up, extended mountain. Exhale, flat back, swan diving down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to shins or thighs. Exhale, forward fold. Hands to the earth, left foot takes a big step back. Knee can come down or stay up. Find a wide stance here, right foot to the right side, left foot to the left. It helps with balance. Draw the belly button in, lengthen your spine, arms reach back behind you, crown of your head reaches forward. Squeeze the inner thighs. So much to do in one pose. Check to make sure your knee isn't going past your ankle. Find your breath. You know, they say yoga begins the moment we want to come out of the pose. How can you breathe through it? How can you bring your mind back to your breath? All right, let's bring our hands down towards the earth. Knee can stay up or come down. Left hand under the left shoulder. Right hand to the thigh. Push into the thigh to help you turn. Squeeze the inner thighs. Right hand reaches up towards the sky. So keep squeezing that inner thigh of the right leg in. Look wherever it feels good for you in your body. Find your breath. Let's all drop the left knee, right hand comes to the earth. Come into tabletop. Back into child's pose. Find your breath. So, how to mindfully move through transitions in yoga is how we can mindfully move through the transitions in life. Where does your mind go? There's no judgment, just notice. One more round of breath. And then making your way into tabletop. Curl your toes under, send your hips up and back, downward dog. Shoulders roll back and down your spine. Slowly, as slow as you can, move into plank pose. Wherever you need to be in your plank today, whatever variation, and hold. Push away from the earth. Draw the navel in. Find your breath. Shift your weight forward, knees to the earth, tuck the elbows, chest and chin come down. So maybe it's baby cobra once again, or maybe it's full cobra, shoulders roll back and down your spine. Slight micro bend here in your knees. Your knees? No, your elbows. Moving slow is not easy for my brain. Oh my goodness. Okay. Find your breath. Gently on your exhale, lower. So we're going to bring our hands underneath our forehead. And then bending your knees and windshield wipering your feet from side to side. We're going to find a locust pose here. So feet come down to the earth. And only go as far as you feel comfortable. So there's lots of stages along the way. If you get to a spot that is good for you, then you stay there. So we're going to bring our hands back by our sides, palms face down, shoulders roll back and down the spine. So you want to push your hips down towards the earth. Push the tops of the feet down on the earth as well. And then gently lift the heart up off the earth. The shoulders still roll back and down. Are you trying to rush into the pose if you already know the pose? Take your time. Maybe you lift your arms, squeeze your shoulder blades towards each other. Perhaps you squeeze your inner thighs, lift your feet, and hold. Breathe. What's going on in your mind? Can you just come back to your breath just for the remainder of this pose? Take deep inhales and long, slow exhales. One more round of breath. And then gently lowering to the earth. Maybe hands come under your forehead once again, or under your chin, bending your knees, windshield wipering your feet from side to side. All right, let's drop the legs down towards the earth. So I'm going to go through a shoulder and chest opening exercise here that I'd like you to be really mindful as you move through, because the further we go into it, the more we will feel it tomorrow. And I say this out of experience. So it depends on the space you have around you. Either arms are going to come to cactus arms, or if you can, you're going to extend the right arm out long. Okay. You're going to turn your head towards the left side, ear to the earth. And then left hand, perhaps fingers tent on the earth. And then slowly rolling over onto your right side. So maybe this left foot comes to the earth, knee is bent. Perhaps the left leg comes back behind you. And notice sensations you feel. So notice also what your body needs. Maybe you roll back over onto your front body and adjust your arm. Maybe it goes higher or lower. You'll feel a difference in the stretch in different parts of your chest. But remember to listen to your body. We don't want to go 100%. Yoga is the one time we don't want to push to 100% effort. Maybe like 70% effort. 100% effort is where we are more likely to injure ourselves. Finding one more round of breath. Can you mindfully roll back over? Left foot comes over, slowly rolling over to your front body. And then we'll come over to the other side, left arm out to the side or cactus. Right hand comes to the earth. And then wherever you need to be here, with that right foot. Maybe the knee is on the floor even. Taking deep inhales and long, slow exhales. And very slowly rolling back over onto your front body. Okay, from here, let's come into tabletop and then flip over into seated. Okay, 5 more minutes until we get a break here, till Shavasana. So in your seated pose, let's find a boat pose. So feet are going to come in about hip distance apart, knees are bent, hands come behind you, shoulders roll back and down your spine. In your boat pose, go as far as you feel comfortable. So maybe it is just extending one leg up. Maybe both legs come up, stay nice and tall. Try not to lean back. Maybe it's one arm or both. Squeeze the inner thighs. Perhaps you stay here, or maybe toes come up towards the sky. Find your breath. What is your mind doing? Is it thinking, oh, how long are we going to be in this pose for? Don't worry about it. What would you do differently if you knew we would be here for 5 more seconds or 50 more seconds? What would you do to come into this pose to find ease, but still effort? Let's find 2 more rounds of breath. And then you're gently going to lower your feet to the earth. Slowly, one vertebrae at a time, coming down onto your back. Take your time. Right. Once you come all the way down to the earth, let's bring feet mat distance apart, windshield wiper the feet, or the knees, excuse me, from side to side. All right, walking the feet towards each other. We want our feet to be about hip distance apart or 2 fist widths apart here. And about a hand distance from your hips or just as close as you can comfortably get them. We're going to find a bridge pose here. So you're going to go just as far as you feel comfortable. Pushing your feet into the earth, lift your hips, squeeze your inner thighs, squeeze your glutes. So if you have shoulder issues, maybe you stay here, or maybe you grab a hold of the sides of your mat, pull the mat apart. So I'm pulling it out towards the sides. Keep pulling. All right, keep squeezing the inner thighs. If you are okay with it, maybe you wrap your shoulders underneath you, clasp your hands, send the hands down, hips up higher, and breathe. Find your breath. Be present in this moment. Deep inhales, long, slow exhales. How can you find ease in this pose while still maintaining the integrity of this pose? Still pushing the feet in, lifting the hips. Notice what you notice in your body, and then come back to your breath. Okay, 2 more rounds of breath. If your arms are under you, gently unrolling your arms. Everybody, slowly, one vertebrae at a time, coming all the way down. Again, feet come mat distance apart, windshield wiper the knees. So a little bit of a different twist for today. So we're going to keep our feet mat distance apart. Arms are going to come out wherever's comfortable, to the side, maybe down by your sides, up overhead in cactus. I guess it depends what you have room for. So whenever you're ready, allowing your knees to drop over towards the right side. They might just hover here. No worries. Allow them to just be the way they are. Notice what's going on in your mind. Can you be kind and compassionate with yourself in this moment? And then bring your mind back to the sensation of your breath. Maybe you feel your breath along the left side of your rib cage. One more round of breath. And then allowing your knees to come back to center. And then knees drop over towards the left side. So know that if this feels completely sucky for you in your body, you can restack your knees. Come into any kind of twist that feels good for you. This one's a little different, kind of gets into the thighs a bit. One more round of breath. And then allowing your knees to come back to center. Okay, what is your body asking for before coming into Shavasana, our final pose? Maybe it's hugging the knees in. Maybe it's finding happy baby. Whatever you need. Maybe it's socks and a blanket. Whatever you feel like you need. So you have a minute here to kind of explore or get yourself ready. And you decide whenever pose it is that you're doing feels complete to you. Come into any final resting pose. So maybe it's Shavasana, legs are out long, wide on the mat, arms are out long. Or maybe you'd rather be on your side body, on your front body. Whatever will help you to sink and settle here. Softening the shoulders. Notice the sensations you feel here in your breath. Where do you feel your breath the most? Perhaps in your diaphragm, in your chest, maybe a little bit of both. Can you slow down your breath? Full inhales, long, slow exhales. And as you breathe, can you notice if maybe there is a pause between the inhale and the exhale, and between the exhale and the inhale? Can you find quiet here in your breath, in those pauses, or maybe just in this general pause in your day? So change is our only constant. Can you take a moment to just embrace the moments between the breath, between this part of your day to the next? When we get too caught up in the busyness of the world, we lose connection with one another and ourselves. There's nothing you need to do, nowhere you need to be, and nothing you need to change. And gently bringing your awareness back into the room. Perhaps making some small movements here in your fingers and toes. Can you allow those small movements to become bigger movements? And gently rolling over to one side, whichever side is calling for you. Perhaps finding a moment of gratitude here for carving out this time to take care of your body, your mind, and your heart. Whenever you are ready, gently coming up to seated, and once you get there, lowering or closing your eyes. Taking deep inhales and long, slow exhales. On your inhales, I invite you to inhale self-compassion, remembering the two most important things you did during our time here together were show up and breathe. Everything else was practice and exploration. The light in me sees and honors the light in each and every one of you. That light is a place of peace, love, kindness, and compassion. When you are in that place in you and I am in that place in me, there is no difference and no distance between us. Together we are the same. We are one. Have a beautiful evening.